Yeah.
So just come to lift your toes.
You haven't got anybody on the thing?
No. Sarah is, there's a new computer system going into Kingston, possibly St Heliers, maybe St George.
Yeah, that's St George's Circuit.
And so she's a bit stressed out having to sort that out. Liz has got cerebral leakage.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It never worked.
Cerebral leakage.
I don't know if that's the right word.
Well, yeah, she's got some leaking of her cerebrospinal fluid. I think did they do a blood patch or something like that? I think
They tried to transfusion of that.
No, I
I think you do a blood patch
No,
where you
that's
just
other
inject some
cerebral
blood
things,
and
but
sort of
not a leak.
leaky bit and it sort of scars it up and sticks it down.
She's had it done twice now.
Yeah.
It's a relief
It's
of the brain.
the
sometimes.
fluid leaking from outside of the brain, or the membrane that surrounds the brain and spinal cord.
Right.
And underneath that is fluid called cerebrospinal fluid, and
Right.
it sort of travels around and just keeps your brain all fresh and spinal cord. But she's got a leak, and I'm not quite sure where it is, but it's coming out, and it shouldn't do that.
Shouldn't go.
No, it shouldn't come outside. It should stay within
How
the
would
sort of
you
little
know if you had
bag,
that?
if you like, within the membrane. And,
She fell very badly, broke her elbow, and then afterwards she kept being dizzy and kept sort of like, I think, stumbling, and that's how they worked out that it wasn't quite right. Carol is sunning herself on her way to St Kitts.
Oh, nice.
All right, for some.
Yeah, I know.
Laura's had her rental property trashed in Dorset.
Oh dear.
Very upset about that.
Oh dear.
And Natalie's taking her daughter to the airport to meet a complete stranger whom she's staying with in the States, and a man in Ohio, and she's absolutely stressed out about it and hasn't told her husband. They've just said that her daughter's going to see a friend in the States because he would just flip. He would flip.
Surprise.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
But at 30 or 31, you can't. What can you
So a
say?
complete stranger. Is this somebody she's met online?
Yes,
Oh, I
she's
see.
online.
So a complete stranger, but somebody she's been.
Talking to.
Yeah, but that
She's
doesn't.
insane.
Yeah, that is insane.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. A bit like Lily running down by Manchester Canal. I was sort of like, why are we doing that? Why are we doing it? Don't do it. Please don't do it. We can't tell her. Just like any canal,
Yes.
it's not a good place to run. Oh, it's all right. Just lift and roll your shoulders. Lift the feet and just place them down. Breathing in, turn the head to the left. And breathing out, turn the head to the right. Into the left. And out to the right. Come to bring the head back to the centre. Just place the hands on the waist and open out under the arms. So you'll naturally stand up a little bit better and create space as the chest tends to lift a little bit. So open the lungs, and you'll find this in a Qigong sequence, which is a Chinese breathwork sequence. And then if you want to just test your abdominal muscles, which you must have been doing all the time skiing, and just subtly bend your knees. Yeah.
Skiing.
I wasn't testing you enough, which is why I kept falling over.
And then lift up. I'm not sure how. Yeah, I would be very apprehensive about skiing. Just again, lift your heels,
I've done the skiing.
Yeah, it's a lot for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
and then lower the heels, and then just lift lower the shoulders. And then just a very familiar sway from side to side. We've just had our aligned ourselves to our heating bill, which hasn't come yet, but it's obviously I've looked online, I thought just how much are we owing here. Like You
wanted a lot for this.
Yes, I knew Phil needed to pay it because I wouldn't have the money in my account, but I wanted to be parted with on a bill like that. So gas is £1,000
Per month?
for 4 months.
4 months.
They haven't, for some reason, they didn't send us a bill. So, and including the government energy discount's been applied, so it's £1,008.
Mm.
And electricity is £984, right?
So 2,000, that's for
2,000.
So that's.
So 500 almost double.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I spoke to another lady in Claygate, house up with guests, and possibly slightly smaller than us, and they're paying £500 a month.
it is.
There are some things to be said for having a bit of work.
Yes.
It's benefits. Very easy to heat. It's always warm when it doesn't cost much.
£500 a month. And then just kind of slow down. I mean, there's no good moaning, everyone's in the same position really. And I know yours would be cheaper, but and we, it's not as if we have our heating glasses throughout the house, and the radiators turned off and rooms that aren't used.
Yes.
But
it's
in
okay
that,
to do
you had your gas broken down, didn't you? Your boiler?
Yeah.
So you would have been using.
We didn't have the heating on until the end of November, beginning of December, and then we had days out because of the broken down boiler, you well remembered. So, and then we got it switched off in all rooms we don't use,
Wow, it's still that
Yes.
high.
and it's still that high.
It's still that high, gosh. Yes, we've turned off like you in the rooms we don't use. But it comes a point when you feel so cold,
Cold.
it's not good for you. to
No,
be
Yes.
I
wandering about and
refuse to
feeling
be. I've
miserable.
really felt the cold more ever this year. And
Yes,
so
me
I just
too.
thought, no, I've got to
I
be
know
warm.
much more this year than any
Yeah,
other year.
it's-
Good.
Isn't that weird? It's just been
Maybe
colder
age,
for longer in a
circulation,
different way.
or dang, very
Yeah,
wet,
yeah,
or I don't know.
Raw gets to your bones.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, lift and roll the shoulders, and raising one arm, doesn't matter which, stretch up, really stretch up. You can look up as an option, that depends on your neck, and then breathing out and lower the arm. It feels like a box, you must remember of whatever it was for your
Oh, was it books or something?
something for
Or CDs or something?
something, and breathing out. Lifting up the shoulders. We started yoga one day this week on the floor in child's pose, and Sue and Natalie were really stiff and could hardly get up. I thought, okay, I was just trying it, but obviously talking about getting older, they like to stand to stretch out first, so it was quite interesting. So just opening up.
You went directly to child's
You went
pose.
directly to child's
Yes.
pose, then to finally to cat-cow, and by the time they got up, they were absolutely just could hardly stand up. We hadn't been down on the ground for that long, so it was just like note to self,
Very important to stretch.
To stretch
before
before
you even go
first,
into
yeah.
something. Yeah.
because normally in a younger body they don't really notice, like whatever. But it's interesting. It didn't quite compute well. So yeah, they were really.
Learning.
And so just lift and roll the shoulders a couple of times. You'll remember this from Tai Chi.
Yes.
I've been remember that Tai Chi.
It was good, wasn't it?
This is a Forest Smith. Okay. And then just hand on the waist and just circle on the way. And the other way. So you're swirling,
Belly dancing.
yes, your belly dancing, you're swirling that abdominal area, and you're slightly balancing on the pelvis. So you're kind of transferring weight subtly from side to side. So it's slightly, I believe it subtly engages the brain, the hemispheres, if you're having to subtly, perhaps we're not doing it enough to do that. And then just move the feet where they're comfortable, because it's the knees now. Just circle the knees. One way. And then circle the knees. The other way. And then standing up, lift one foot and just circle one way. And then circle then lift the other heel. Circle the runway.
Yes.
And
Concentration, just not huge.
the other way. It's so important to keep moving, even if it's a little tiny bit. So I think that's what killed Phil's mother,
Not moving.
not moving.
So,
Yeah,
That lot.
blood clots.
yes.
Also,
It's-
house cats, think about it, house cats are going to be more prone to it.
Was she what? Yes.
Did they get the result?
Oh, did I not tell you? Pulmonary embolism.
Oh.
So, yes,
That's why it's so sudden.
yes. But she hadn't moved for 5-6 weeks.
Yeah.
And the cat, yes.
Yeah,
You're
house
gonna
cat doesn't
you're
do
gonna let
that.
Snuffles go outside, or is he?
Well, now no, because she said it's better off being a house cat because he can walk, but his left hind leg, but he was totally paralysed and both legs sort of dragging across the floor. But now he can walk quite happily, but his left leg isn't really working properly. Sometimes the foot's curled under and it's
How old is he?
fine.
Oh,
Six,
yeah.
5, 6, yeah.
That's young for a cat, yes.
Yeah. So they think he's got heart, probably.
Atrial fibrillation.
Well, they said most probably it's what's the cardiomyopathy? I think that's
Yeah,
what
really
they are.
well.
I wonder whether it's atrial fibrillation instead. I don't know. We haven't started because she was just going to put him down. She said nobody. I've never seen one recover, so I can either put him down tonight. That was last Thursday, or if you're not ready, take him home and get used to the idea, and we can do it tomorrow. Or he can go into the cat hospital, but most of them don't come out alive. And so it wasn't really worth doing any of the tests. But now,
So maybe they will then. Well, do you want to pay for it though?
Oh
Put
my
on
God.
anticoagulants and leave it at that.
Well, I know that was what I was feeling.
Yes.
Anticoagulants and whatever heart rates they've given him, I don't know what they are. But
So Snuggles. Focus on Snuggles. He's like a ginger cat.
Oh,
he's
nice.
such a great cat.
Ginger is nice. The male usually.
Oh yeah, yeah, he is.
Just had a ginger cat.
So you had a ginger cat.
Oh, years ago, yeah. All sorts of cats.
So much personality.
And then come through the centre. Come so hands onto the shins, half lift. Breathe out, curl in. Just make sure you're releasing the head, there's no tension there. Breathe in, half lift. And stay here as you breathe out. And breathing in, soften your knees and roll up to standing. Lift and roll the shoulders. Hands together at the heart centre. Soften the knees. Stretch. Come through the centre. Hands onto the shins. Half lift. Breathe out. Curl in. Breathe in. Half lift. And stay here as you breathe out. Breathe in, press your feet down and roll up to standing. Breathing in, stretch. And just look at your wrists as you circle the wrists down. And circle the wrists the other way. And then arthritis cropped up, however it was. Shake hands out.
Some salts and hot water is what one of my friends
Oh,
started.
right, okay. So it
Well,
relaxes
try
the
it,
muscles,
you know,
wouldn't it?
it's very
Detoxify.
I haven't done it, I've got to find out some salts, which
Oh.
is buried somewhere in the bathroom.
Oh, right, okay.
She said it's worked for one of her friends.
Just healthy food and movement, isn't it?
Yes.
It's the blood flow, it's stopping a bit, isn't it, to cause arthritis.
Yes.
It's not getting right down to the...
So when you do this, you're just creating a very subtle space that's sort of anti-stagnation.
Yes, I've been doing this actually, this thing, and Kevin says, what are you doing? Pulling my fingers.
Things you learn as mad yoga.
What is it
Place.
doing?
Just circle the wrists one way and circle the wrists the other way. And then just release and lift your shoulders. Just snake your right arm up to wherever it works for you. The left hand just connects to your left thigh, tummy in, and just go over to the left. Breathing in, press your feet down, stretch the arm up and lower the arm.
I utterly believe in all of this and the movement and the happiness. You know what you were saying on your text about, you know, the massage and the just holding your hands up. Max, 48 hours was cuddling that cat, and I swear that's what made him happy.
Did it?
Wow. Yeah.
And then come to the other side, chin in. You feel your chest, you're between two plates of glass, so you're not aiming your chest down, it's slightly up. And then breathing in. And back up again. Raise your arms up. And as you breathe out, separate the hands and turn to the right. Breathing in, raise the hands up. And separate and turn to the left. Breathing up. And then just circle the wrists down. So I'm going to do a salute to someone. I'll slow it down and I'll make it hopefully that you can
Warming up.
do it. Are you, just say if you want an adjustment on the temperature?
It's lovely.
Yes.
It's so warm.
Yeah.
Okay. It wasn't working hugely well, and we had the heat right up, and then it was like, what's going on? We had the thought,
Sort of
does it need
sauna.
to service it? And Phil took it to pieces and took all the filters out and checked everything. Filters were very bummed up,
Yeah,
so
that's going to be
completely clean them. And it's much warmer.
That saved you money by him doing that.
Yes,
Right at the end of the season, after our shot, we're around the time of our bill. So lift roll the shoulders, hands together at the heart centre. Soften the knees, hands up, come through the centre. Bend the knees, hands to either side of you. Step or slide your right foot back, and then right knee to the ground. Just feel the stretch in your right hip. And then slide your left leg back. And you can have your toes flat or tucked. Just bring your bottom towards your heels, stretching out the upper back there. Come back to all fours. I'm aware of the cat-cow and not quite great version, so just sway from side to side. And then minimal cat-cow. So Rosie, if you don't really want to do this, just
Fine arching. Adjust my lip.
and then as you round your back, tuck your toes, and we're going to come to standing. So you can come via downward dog, or come to standing however you want. And walk your feet to your hands to your feet. Or come to standing cow, however it works for you, and roll up. Stretching up, move through the centre. Lifting your shoulders. Hands together at the heart centre. And hands up. Come, pull the energy through the centre of the body as you bend your knees. Hands to the ground. And step or slide your left foot back. Just enjoy that stretch and then lower the left knee to the ground. And slide your right knee back. and bottom towards the heels again. And coming back to kneeling. And just sway the hips from side to side. And then just we're going to come to a seated position and legs out in front of us. Push out from under the bottom. And just hands to either side of you. Yogically they're like this, Tadasana, but just be relaxed. And just lift the chest and subtly lift the eyes up to the ceiling. So this is a subtle back bend. And eyes up de-stresses us. And just bring the head back to centre. And just feet, no circulation here. I said to Natalie, her daughter should be doing this on the flight out to Thailand.
I think Cleveland does those, it is, isn't it? Yeah, probably about, got to be 8 hours, isn't it? Yeah. I think no, Cleveland.
She said it didn't look very inspiring.
It's not. I think it's Cleveland Clinic. It's which is a very famous hospital in America.
Oh really?
University Hospital,
Oh.
yeah, Cleveland Clinic.
So
Especially this time, it'll be bloody cold as well.
So having seen the devastation of blood clot cause, flying is just so
dangerous. So this is really helpful for boosting the circulation. You could do this anywhere, sitting down, on a flight.
So this can prevent DVT, basically.
It's one of the exercises for anti-DVT. Over to you, is that?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. If you anything that's sort of pumping your calves and things like
Yes.
Because I was thinking,
Cycling.
that. Take an aspirin and fly in business class.
I'll tell Phil that. It's over the heart
20
attack.
hours.
but presumably walking is better for pumping your calves, and this is sort of second best, or is it?
Yeah, walking's ideal, so what you want to do is get up and walk around every time.
Yeah. But if you can't walk, so
Can't
this
walk
is.
Yes.
And then some people don't like this, toes banging together, so that's some people do. You know, it's a Kundalini thing. It's just
I like
like
it.
vibration. It's vibration.
It's quite like it. It's like,
How-
you wouldn't like it.
Well, you're supposed to be going together.
It increases the vibration, which is anti-stagnation. And it's a Kundalini thing, they do it about 50 times. Carol moans about abundance, so she doesn't have it from that point of view. So I won't put you through too much torture, but that is one of those things. And then just for the ankles, just both go in one direction, both go in the other. And invert. And then I was reading somewhere that there's a muscle called tibia.
It's anterior.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Where people pronate like me, and the antidote for that is almost like sitting and dangling, almost bringing the feet in like that. Having that stretches that muscle
Oh, okay.
to stop you.
Which muscle?
Tibialis anterior. Just it must be here.
It's
None the wiser.
where people turn
In the
their
front of the tibia, it means Latin for in front of the tibia.
tibialis
Anterior.
anterior. If you pronate, which is like my feet go in like that, when you've got collapsed arches, it's that muscle that is responsible. And it's if you were sitting like that, you go like that. You try
And it's a
and
good thing to do, like sitting like that.
sitting. Well, you sit on a chair and do that.
Yeah.
To try and bring your feet in to try and strengthen. I noticed that Forest Mill they put a gait analysis,
Oh, that would be
which
interesting.
would be interesting. And I'm kind of, do I have that? But Joss had that done. And they said, oh, you're terrible. You need orthotic
Orthotics, yeah.
support.
They do that in Surbiton, the place up and running, because I've got some what they call trainers from there, and they put you on the treadmill, it's free, and they do, I don't know if they might charge it, obviously, and they tell you whether you're neutral or
Pronated or supinated, yeah.
True in
I'm
what
neutral,
sense? When you say you're neutral.
Neutral is if your feet are flat when you walk, and then there's pronating is if they go inwards.
Oh, yeah,
And you go outwards, so you could.
I've got quite flat feet, not good arches, so.
But anyway, they analyse
Yeah,
your
so-
gait on the treadmill and they tell you which type of training you need, and there's one for
Okay.
if your feet
Shoes.
are neutral or that way or that way.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. They only do trainers in there. I don't know if it applies to normal shoes.
Just rub your my only thing is, if I had an accident and I needed support on a temporary basis, I'd be fine with that. But for a long-term thing, I would worry that my muscles would relax and not do any work, they'd get lazy and get worse.
Oh, if you had the shoes to correct. Oh,
That would be, but I just wonder what your thoughts are.
I think what it would do is rebalance the length of your muscles. So after a while, you shouldn't need the orthotics. You don't have the orthotics forever. You wear them for a bit, you know, I don't know, a few months or something, and by that time, then you should be realigned. I mean,
Okay.
and then you should be all right without it. That would be. I don't think the idea is to correct it. So
Correct it, okay. I would know that if I went, they would, I know the outcome before I, so yes.
It was very
Yeah.
expensive. Orthotics are quite expensive.
Oh,
I was
are
getting them for James because he had really bad pronation actually.
Oh, okay.
Well, that was in Dubai though, so that's probably not expensive.
So what we're talking about expensive,
A few £100.
right, okay. And then just bend up your right knee, hold underneath the legs, and it's just getting the knee, moving the knee, which, how are your knees these days?
Yeah, 2 years knees.
It's not great. Mine is- it's not great. It's not strong enough. I need to do more work on it.
I get the gait analysis because it can be to do with the alignment of your hips, of course, if they're sort of in and you get the whole thing pronates. You know, so you may like hip openers or I don't know, depending on what. So it's worth
yes.
getting the whole thing to
Thing.
make because it will show whether you've got gait that's coming from the hip. Because I think I'm a little bit like that. I think I'm a bit pronated. It's probably because perhaps my hips are not open enough or something.
Well, on that hip thing then, open your hip. If this is too much, then put your foot on the floor, just go to where it's comfortable and get your hand and just circle your ankle one way.
Sue was saying this, wasn't she, about the ankle, what you're doing now. Sue was, when she was here,
Oh yes.
saying move your foot round and round. It makes a lot of difference to, you know, general well-being, your feet and your.
Somehow doing it manually is slightly different from doing it not manually.
Yeah.
I can't quite work out why. And this comes within a series called Pawa Muxtana, which is moving the subtle winds, and it's anti-arthritic, anti-rheumatic.
What doing this is.
Yes. The next part you might not like. So if you are able to thread your fingers through your feet, fine. If you can't, then as a poor man, poor sort of substitute, put your hands over and just go like that. But threading your fingers through, you can both
Yes.
circle and up and down, and you're stretching out under the feet, which stretches out the lung meridians and then the sinuses in between the toes.
Talking of lung, any lung cleaning things, exercises to do today.
Yes.
They've started building next to my flat and it's horrendous.
Oh,
They've got
gosh.
dust and they're
Oh, no.
demolishing
Demolishing
loads of.
some-
Well,
some
it's
lovely old
it's a
houses, probably, are they?
it's some old offices and they're making it into
Just hug them into your chest.
six
and
flats.
Stop over the feet, yes.
And at the moment they've been breaking down all this concrete and chucking it down from the second floor right outside my kitchen window. And I've just got into my car today and it's covered in a layer of thick white dust. And I'm thinking I'm living next to that and it's I mean, I can keep the windows closed, but then I find Max has left the windows open and we always leave the bathroom window open.
Yes.
So I just feel
You
So-
need to get out in the fresh air as much as you can, during the day, out of the flat until it stops.
actually being out of the
Being
flat is probably a
outside.
good idea, but at the moment I've got to be in
You've
it.
got to be in it, yes. You
I've got I've got actually I've got all these
can go
quotes to get.
somewhere to a cafe or something, like my son does, to go on the computer,
Yeah,
Sometimes
good
you can
point.
work
I
in
think
a
I will-
cafe
I will
and
try to
Isha,
do that.
there's Costas, and there's
Yeah.
another one.
I think it's, yeah.
I've been there, and you can just sit there and know.
Because I was in my kitchen today watching these big clouds of dust come up outside.
Really very stressed.
It's horrible, and the noise is just, I'm just thinking, oh God.
I take to the cafes in Isha. There
I
are
think
about
you're
3
right.
where you can sit
Yeah.
for ages. John goes in and works on his
That's
computer
that's a
doing
good
stuff,
idea.
and
You just
have
need to be, yeah,
both
just need to be
of
out
them.
all the time.
That would probably,
Yeah.
you'd feel better for it. You have coffees, endless coffees.
The trouble is, I've got all my paperwork and I need to refer to this, that and the other and take,
Okay,
I don't
so
know.
it's taking lots of stuff in.
yeah,
isn't
probably.
Well,
But no,
that's
you're
it.
right, I think I'm going to try and do it.
So in answer to your
Yeah.
lung thing, we should be standing, but I won't. So the 3 lung things, if just remembering, you would need to be standing, but they are
it? Well, yeah.
upper lung and heavy breathing. And then just about 10 to 25 times, and then you just lift them on your shoulders. So then the middle lung is even more ludicrous. Hands, fists, and your chicken wings, and your elbows actually connect to the intercostal muscles. They do this for cystic fibrosis to release
And this cleans out the lungs, yeah?
it. Yes. But again, you've got to do it about 25 times and several times a day.
Oh. It's
If you're
remembering.
really being under stressed. I'm only doing just a temporary little, and then,
It's quite hard work, isn't it?
yes, lift them over the shoulders.
It's 25 times 20. It's
Yeah, that's always good. Did you?
10 to 25 times to get the benefit, and it strengthens your immune system. And then for lower lungs,
Yes.
you can, a couple of ways of doing it, but you'll feel your tummy going in. And it's really getting all the toxins up from the bottom lungs, bottom lungs. And again, 25 times, but I won't put you through that.
So this would be quite good to do if you had a cold or something, presumably, if you put with the energy to get through.
What do you think?
Depends on whether the cold's gone to your chest or not.
Yeah.
Because the cold's usually in the upper respiratory tract, so it's not very good.
Well, I should have said if you've got something that's
Yes,
on
sort
your
of
chest.
chesty-
Yeah, that's what I
chesty
meant,
thing,
chesty
chesty
stuff.
thing.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Sue, we miss you. Just soles of the feet together and just massage. So anywhere that's sore or tender is a good point to focus on. Sue would say put oil or creams on. And effectively, I think the head is the big toe. I've forgotten now what you said. Oh, this is the back. This is the spine. This is along the spine, following the bone that goes up on the arch. And then these on the outside of the joints.
Yeah.
That's just neck, shoulder.
It's hard to remember, isn't it?
Yeah.
I listen to Sue and I forget it so quick.
That's it, yes.
And the big toe is major. Is
The
that
head.
Head, yes. Big toe is the head.
And
And
then
then the next,
outer ear, inner ear,
outer ear, inner ear.
eyes, neck, and the sinus, but the sinuses are down there in between the toes. And then underneath, when you stretch up, that's the lung meridian.
Oh, if you stretch, it's the lung.
So yes, if you go like that,
Yeah.
stretching your lung meridian.
Oh, really?
And I don't know why, you might have a view on this, Charlotte, if you, while we're playing with our feet, if you put your finger, any finger on your nose and push in and up, it accesses and makes you breathe more easily if you've got a cold.
Yeah, it probably lengthens the airway, sort of improves, because instead of having, perhaps it makes it a bit straighter. Yes, actually you can feel it.
Feel it.
So maybe it just sort of slightly straightens it rather than.
It's funny, isn't it? I don't know why. There's something, and it's viewed as so important, this particular movement. It's in, push it in and up.
Not just the
Underneath.
nostril. I did that a bit when I had a cold, closing off one nostril. And that helps seems to
Helps
help
it.
clear, eventually clear the passages a bit.
This is like an emergency mudra type thing.
Mm.
There's something else I could say about breath and breathing. I can't quite remember. So just massage Oh yes, I know what I was going to say. If you breathe normally and then smile, notice that the breath goes almost back to the throat and up. So just normal breathing, mouth closed. Then subtly smile, and it goes into back into
sort of goes
And I don't know why, and I don't know what it does. It's meant to be, that's a subtle meditation thing. It accesses a different part of the brain, but I don't understand why that should be so.
Again, it probably slightly changes the shape of your airway if you're using your face and your neck. It's probably slightly changing the shape of the upper airway.
I'm revisiting James Nestor's book on the breath, which was quite interesting. He spent a lot of time in Paris digging up skulls and examining how people have changed their spirit, how their face has changed over the centuries. And our ancestors, we're like very much more narrow and compromised on our breath, whereas our ancestors had much bigger, wider skulls, and it kind of lent itself to more breathing. It's better breathing, but of course, if you didn't get people living perhaps quite so long, just stretch your legs out and toes up, and feel that you're leading with your chest, and just slide your hands down. They might stay at the shins, they might stay at the feet, they might hold your big toes, you might hold the outer edge of your ankles, and that depends, I think, pretty much on your how long your arms are.
Yes, I have long arms. I'm quite lucky. I have quite long fingers as well. So
We can all do
shorter
this.
legs.
I know Sue gets very upset because she can't. She's got shorter arms, which is something I never realised at school. You don't go around looking at your friends' arms, do you? You just don't think about it. So, if you extend your heels, you'll feel the muscles engage along the inside of the leg. And we can get very lazy when we stand, so we don't necessarily engage our muscles totally. It's just and then just sliding up. And then comes lying on the back and just hugging your knees into your chest. And you might like to rock from side to side. And you can rock right down onto the top of the elbow.
Fall back.
Back, yes. It's got my back. Yeah. So,
There's this fine line, isn't there? Because we keep moving in different directions. But if you keep someone on their back or lying down too long, that's uncomfortable. Standing too long is uncomfortable. And sitting too long is uncomfortable. So it's like,
Sitting on the floor is hard for me.
Yeah.
Sitting, I think, got to my back. Yeah, with the legs straight out, it's really hard to keep my back up.
so from here, hugging the knees into the chest. And as you breathe in, raise the left arm and the left hand up and perhaps behind you. Extend the foot. And then breathing out, lower the left arm, left hand. And you hug the knee back into the chest. And breathing in, raise the right arm and right leg up. Chin goes down. And breathing out, hug the knees into the chest. And then knees together, just circle both knees together. And that will focus your weight at the base of your spine to massage if you've got a stiff lower back, stiff anywhere around there. And then circle the other way. And then this very familiar, hug both knees into the chest. Let both knees drift to arm's length. Just a few times to your own breath pattern. And the massage at the lower spine, almost resonant, you can feel it going all the way up up the spine. I can just feel that sort of release. You're lengthening. If the spine's compressed with standing or sitting, you're just here lengthening it. You're just giving it space because the ground's supporting you. And your muscles that normally support you to stand up are being kind of relieved of their duty for a little while, but they take a while to relax, to unwind and let go. And then just release. Hold your hands underneath the thighs to place one foot and then the other foot down to the earth. And your feet here can be just slightly wider than hip width apart. Hands can be palms down on the floor or just resting on your abdomen. And just sway your knees from side to side. Your hip will come off the ground as you go from side to side, and you can go a little bit down or right down, really twist, whatever works for you. It's the first expression of rotation in rehabilitation. So you'd start with just moving your knees subtly from side to side, but as they're not rehabilitating particularly, you can go a little bit further. So comes the centre. And then this is also on a rehabilitation program that you might do at an osteopath, taken from yoga, I hasten to add, just some pelvic tilts, flattening the back as if you're going to lift your bottom and then moving the other way so that there's a little gap under your lower back. And it's just massaging over that very often tender area of the lower back. And then hug one knee and then the other knee back into your chest again. And then dropping your hands underneath your thighs, you might like to clasp your hands and just subtly let your legs go upwards. But keep a bend in the knee by all means, and just sway your legs from side to side. It's a subtle nod to inversion here. Said to be rebalancing for the hormonal system, the endocrine system. You can have legs up the wall or over a sofa or a chair at home. And just very gently hug the knees into the chest. And just either rock from side to side or hug the knees in, back and forth, just finally just massaging, nurturing your lower back. And then just placing the feet out onto the floor. Bring the hands to the heart centre or below the heart, just comfortably rest your hands. Your elbows will be out slightly. Keep your elbows where they are and just open your hands out to the side a little bit as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, bring the hands back to just below the heart centre or where your hands comfortably meet. And just a couple more times in your own breath pattern, opening your hands and just bringing them back. And then just rest your hands at the heart centre and take a moment to have a thought for the day. It can be for you or for somebody, or setting your intention for the day. Human or other, whatever. Just have that thought and then let that thought drift away. Your intention's been set for the day. And notice as you breathe in that the abdomen rises slightly, and as you breathe out, the abdomen just settles down. And you can breathe through your nose, or you can breathe through your nose as you breathe in and out through your mouth as you breathe out. couple of breaths to your own breath pattern. And then finally, choose a colour, any colour that resonates with you today, and then just wrap yourself like candy floss in that colour. So conferring protection on you for the rest of the day, only letting in positive things, nothing negative is allowed to come in. So cocoon in your candy floss or auric egg, whatever visualizations works for you. And then let that thought go, and then hug your knees into your chest and think about just rolling to the side to come up to a seated position. And we're just going to do some palming to finish. Rub the hands together so they're warm. And then just place your hands over your closed eyes. Open the eyes into the darkness of the hands. It's very soothing for the eyes and for the head. And then just move the hands to the side and come back to the room.